Welcome to a new episode of Convincing Numbers. I'm going to dive into an NFL defensive event that people love to see when it occurs on the field and is going to be a key to deciding the Denver Broncos' first game of the season versus the Tennessee Titans. I'm talking about sacking the quarterback. And why not? Sacks are fun. Defenders love them, and so do fans. Taking down the rival quarterback and the sack dance that follows is really just great entertainment. It is also a very important metric when it comes to winning football games. I dug into nearly 65,000 NFL drives since 2009, and the data clearly shows that if a defense tallies at least one sack on a drive, it dramatically reduces the ability to score points. First, only 34% of drives ended in points for the offense. It isn't easy to score in the NFL. Check out how much harder it becomes when the defense gets at least one sack on the drive. That 34% shrinks to 4%. Only 4% of drives in the NFL end with points if the defense gets at least one sack on the drive. Also consider that at least one sack happens on 18% of all drives. The probability of scoring when a sack occurs is very low. Sacks and drives. And since the number of drives in a game are limited, it is easy to see how they are an incredibly important factor in winning NFL games. Now, for even more compelling evidence. Removing ties. When a team records 3 or more sacks in a game, winning probability increases to 0.66. And all teams except the Chargers and Patriots had a significant increase in their overall winning percentage over the last 11 seasons when they hit that 3 sacks threshold in a game. This isn't a gigantic task to accomplish either, because a team has tallied 3 sacks in a game over 1,800 times in the last 11 seasons. Now, 2 sacks does show an improvement, but is not nearly as significant as 3. 3 is an attainable goal, and it really is the key threshold for significant success. Furthermore, if that team with 3 or more sacks also has more sacks than the opposing team, the victory probability skyrockets to 0.73. That translates to a 12-4 record if a team were to do that in every game during a season. Now, I know there are some of you going to say out there, well, it's because when teams are ahead, the defense can rack up sacks. Meaning sacks are more of a product of a team scoring points, not a cause of victory. And I would argue that if a team is leading, any sack by a defense is protecting that lead and therefore contributing to wins. But for the naysayers who don't want to accept that logic, I removed every game when a team was winning by at least 14 points at the start of the fourth quarter and found that the probability decreased only slightly to 0.62, and only 2 additional teams did not have a relevant increase in their win percentage. So in other words, that naysayer's argument doesn't hold water. Now that we know that sacks are important, what does that mean for the Broncos' first game of the 2020 season? In 2019, the Titans finished the season at 9-7, and in 10 of those games, they gave up 3 or more sacks, including 7 to the Broncos. Those sacks had a significant effect on those games because they lost 6 of those 10 games. In the 4 that they won, in 3 of them, they also had 3 or more sacks. If I remove those games, the Titans' win percentage was 14%. They are very beatable when the defense can get after the quarterback, and they give up many multiple sack games. This plays right into the Broncos' strength. They have elite pass rushers in Von Miller, Jarrell Casey, and Bradley Chubb. Casey was traded to the team from the Titans this offseason, so we know he will be playing with a little extra passion, and both Miller and Chubb have something to prove this year. And as long as Miller's late injury news isn't as serious as they think, the Broncos defense will get those 3 sacks and win the season opener. For Mile High Huddle and Sports Illustrated, I'm Thomas Hall.